Arg! Ahoy there, matey! Welcome aboard the world of boating.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
I was just looking into buying a boat of my own.
Call World of Boating toll-free now at 1-888-88-28-BOAT. That's 1-888-828-BOAT.
And welcome. This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate, Captain Patrick, Barry the Boater, Mike the Mariner, rounding out the crew as we navigate the latest boating news and information. Recap the Miami International Boat Show, which is still going on this weekend. Might be a little damp. They're expecting some rain this afternoon and Sunday, last day of the boat show. But leading up to the weekend, the weather was great. Patrick was there, and we're going to get to his full coverage here in just a bit. But Mike the Mariner is up first because he hasn't been on board for the last few weeks doing all kinds of stuff. So we just want to check in with him, find out what he's been up to. Mike, how you doing, buddy? What's been going on?
Hey, doing great. Yeah, I've been traveling for work a bit and getting some things done, but happy to be back on the show.
Yep.
And yeah.
And you're
good.
kicking back on your vessel, it looks like, as you can see on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. What
we're
vessel
back on
is that?
Silhouette this week.
Silhouette, okay.
This is Silhouette. Back on the boat. Haven't been on the boat in a few weeks. Had the annuals done this week and planning a quick haul out to get the anodes done in the next couple of weeks, and she's ready for the season.
Well, there you go. See, I didn't recognize it because you got the rain windows up. We got some weather that we're navigating today, so that it didn't look like the typical backdrop of what you have on your vessel, but that explains it.
Yeah.
It's all related to the weather, but we're glad to have you aboard and get right into it. You didn't get down to the Miami International Boat Show, but you were there in spirit, I assume, right?
I was. Yeah, we actually did a quick trip up to see my grandfather. Just a quick shout out to my grandfather, Jack Jackson, the best grandfather anybody could have. He's turning 92 today.
Wow.
And
happy birthday
to
Jack.
Having a nice party up there. Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds good. But I know you had your mind on some things at the boat show. One thing you were asking about right before we went on the air today was what? You were looking, hoping that Patrick had seen some particular type of engine or something, or what?
Sure. So I've always been interested in alternative power sources, and Yamaha just came out with a hydrogen-powered outboard, and I was just curious to see if Captain Patrick had a chance to take a look at that and what his thoughts were on it.
Hydrogen power. I think he has. Barry the Boater, same thing. You weren't there.
No, I didn't make it there for certain reasons, but I like methane because you can get it from anywhere.
Especially Barry.
That's right.
Which explains why
I wasn't at the show.
Why he's connected virtually and not in studio.
And why Patrick said, you stay home.
Okay. Well, what about hydrogen-powered boat engines? Did you see this thing, Patrick? You were there in Miami.
I did, and if you check out World of Boating on Facebook, World of Boating website, worldofboating.com, you would not only see the pictures that I took while I was making my way through the boat show, but also some very staticky video.
Of UFOs or something? What do you mean? Why staticky?
No,
why?
Yeah, connection issues. Every time that I go down to the Miami show, I have yet to figure out live video and how to make it seamless, and or where as I'm walking around with my cell phone camera, because Greg refuses to invest in any real equipment,
right?
To where it doesn't look like I'm on roller skates going across a rocky gravel road. So anyway, there are pictures there show the hydrogen powered prototype from Yamaha was getting a lot of looks, I'll say throughout the show, with whether hybrid power, which we can talk a little bit about, true innovation like this, of course, the electric outboards and inboard power plants, things like that are starting to take over. Again, my prediction was within, I think, 7 to 10 years that this is going to displace the petrol engines big time.
Well, what were your thoughts on this hydrogen one in particular? Is this going to be like a bridge to electric? Do you see the practicality, or do you think it's pie in the sky type stuff?
They've got a lot of work to do. So the prototype was set up in a regulator hull. And again, you'll see those pictures of the cells, if you will. And you're going to need a lot of boat, number one. You're going to need a lot of boat. There were 3 of these containers, if you will, placed in the hull. So, it's a first step forward. And that's what we got to do. That's how you start. It's really, really neat. They're going to start their testing, I think, this summer.
But the containers you're talking about is what would be used to hold the hydrogen, and that's correct. The problem. So it adds
it's not a problem.
Extra.
It's the space that you need, and you could say, well, that would take the place of where a fuel tank would go. True, but when you're looking at not a large boat like a regulator, when we want to get it into maybe smaller boats, things like that, again, they're gonna have to look at size and weight, and the viability of these components withstanding a salt environment.
Yeah. Well, because hydrogen.
The last thing we want to mess with.
A pressure vessel.
Yes,
a pressure vessel that has
is corrosion issues.
Yeah,
on a hydrogen powered boat.
Yeah, wasn't there an airship that had an issue with hydrogen?
Yeah, a little one.
Yeah, but I know a place where you can probably get it filled fairly quickly. There's a little area up in your neck of the woods, Captain Patrick, that deals with hydrogen all the time.
Okay. What is it, Barry?
Cape Canaveral.
Oh,
they have liquid hydrogen there. All you need is a hose.
But as far as comparing the storing of hydrogen to gasoline in a boat motor, you need much more space to hold the same amount of energy. You think for hydrogen?
You're going to need more space, and you're going to need you're structurally, you've got to be built to withstand
punctures.
These containers, for the hydrogen fuel.
Right.
So it's a first step. Is it going to be, where I see electric certainly taking over more and more? Is there a market for hydrogen? We'll find out after the summer of testing. If this is something that they're going to be able to make work, and if so, are there going to be any limitations right out of the gate that they're going to have to find solutions for?
Yeah, Mike, why did that catch your eye, and why were you wondering about that?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, there's not enough raw material readily available, or even non-readily available on Earth to completely electrify all the vehicles on the planet. So there's always going to have to be some other way to propel machinery.
Right.
So they're testing hydrogen power. Porsche has a study going on with it, and there's been concepts where these tanks that you're looking at on Facebook Live on the World of Boating page would be almost interchangeable. So when you pull into a station, you'd pull your tanks out, put them on a rack, put new tanks in, plug them in, and leave. So that would.
Then you would what?
You would wave and say, "Tanks for the tanks."
Oh God!
Tanks for the tanks.
Really?
Yeah, there you go.
Man, I'm so glad I drove all the way down to Miami for this.
Right.
Sorry.
Jesus.
No, but my point is, there is no way everything is going to go electric. There is not enough raw material to make batteries for all the vehicles in the world. So there's always going to be another fuel source.
Well, if hydrogen ends up being one of those players, we'll have to wait and see, like Patrick said. But the technology is advancing, and we saw it at the Miami International Boat Show. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff.
Oh, we got big news for you, Greg.
Big news. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Well, we'll just tease me, and then we'll talk about it after the break. What? Give me a hint of what it might be.
Oh, I thought you meant like tease you.
Go ahead and tease him.
I just hate to bring up, make you just more than what you are, but that's what's going to happen when we come back.
Okay, more than what I am. Genius plus, maybe. More coming up.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network.
explorer in the other 2/3 of your world. Be the buddy who takes the kids in the aquarium instead of just to it. Be adventurous. Be amazed. Be a diver.
Even Keatley wasn't ready for me, or anything that followed. Chased by a police department, led by his ex-girlfriend, and hunted by brain fork-wielding Fijian assassins, it's everything he can do to keep from getting locked up, killed, or worse. Kava Screw is available as an ebook for $2.99 at Amazon.com. Kava Screw. Put a brain fork in him. He's done.
Hosting a radio show about scuba diving and boating is one of the best gigs on the planet. It's actually part of my job to check out and report on cool new products I personally use to enhance my diving and boating adventures. However, I do believe in sharing the joy, and this is why we've added Nanook protective hard cases to our list of products you can now purchase on the merchandise page at scubaradio.com. Nanook cases are designed to protect the most sensitive equipment in the harshest environments. Underwater photographers, listen up. From their high-impact NK7 resin to their exclusive Power Claw latches, Nanook has raised the bar for those of you that demand the best protection for your gear. Plus, Nanook protective cases cost less than similar products currently on the market. The company has been around for over 15 years, but it's new to the U.S., so we've made a small number of Nanook cases available exclusively for you at a special introductory price on the merchandise page at scubaradio.com. Go there now and check out Nanook, the evolution of protection.
Successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the World of Boating.
I do like the water.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
I used to have a boat.
You did?
Yeah, she was pretty damn sweet, man. I love that boat.
So why'd you lose it?
Sometimes the things we love aren't long for this world, Vern. Especially when your alcoholic ex-wife gets drunk and falls overboard and drowns.
This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate, Captain Patrick Barry, the boater, Mike the Mariner, rounding out the crew as we navigate the latest boating news and information and recap the Miami International Boat Show, the Super Bowl of boat shows. They say unofficially. They're not allowed to say that legally. Otherwise they'll be sued.
You're the only one who says it.
The big game.
Everybody
the
says
big
it.
Game.
It's a thing.
Nobody says it.
Look
Nobody
it up
said
online.
While I was down there.
It's just, Patrick just doesn't like to be up to the latest lingo and stuff in the boating
I heard
world.
all the lingo I needed to while I was down there.
Yeah.
But speaking of which,
What was the queen of the show then?
Stop it. Despite the fact that I represented myself as the World of Boating radio show, I did want to acknowledge some people who actually agreed to talk with me.
Yeah.
So Mike, pay special attention to this one. So I had Steve Werley from Sharrow Props, who are going to be reaching out to see if we can set up an interview with them. They had 5 boats in the water and were given demo rides. Marcos Crickets, believe me, that's as close as I'm going to get to his last name, from Nautical Ventures. They represented Axopar. So they had a new model that, again, you can see this. That thing is like the, call it the Swiss Army knife of boats.
Right.
They did some really innovative stuff. I really like what they're doing with that boat. Some really, really cool stuff. And it gets down to what I really like, which is simplicity in boating.
Yeah.
But yet you get so much.
So when you press a button and a pair of scissors pops out of the transom or something?
It's a very versatile boat. You can transform this boat in a couple different things just by flipping some stuff over. Really, really cool what they've done. Going to set up hopefully a interview with BoatTest.com. Guy with arguably the best name for a captain, period. Captain Trip Smith. Spent some time with him. Also, Chris Owen, the president of Montera, and Dr. Shumsky Proctor. Oh, no, that's my person.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Let's not go
No
there.
polyps.
Let me put that one away. So, Greg, one of the main reasons I made the trip down was, of course, we made our predictions for Boating Magazine's Boat of the Year. I had certainly my pick, which was the Tahoe T21.
Right.
I'm here to tell you that the Montera surf boat won. That was your pick.
Oh,
You're welcome. Which, because it had a cool name, which was what again?
The Montera Surf Boss.
Surf Boss, right.
Yeah. So I spent some time. There are pictures of that boat on the World of Boating Facebook page and at worldofboating.com. Congrats to the folks at Montera on their award. They had their trophy sitting on the transom of this boat with a sign that says, "I am not a pontoon boat."
And thank you to Greg, your first mate, for
although I was
nailing it.
The gentleman that I spent some time with, who looked like he stepped out of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine.
Zoinks!
Yeah, pretty much. Don't look in that compartment under the helm seat. So really nice to talk with. Talked a lot about, their market, what they were up against,
their
where
cool
their market
name
was coming from
Surf
for
Boss.
that boat. I will say, as he had extensive knowledge of this boat, and I explained to him, our little contest that we do on air, and he thought that was pretty cool. And then I said, of course, the guy who picked the boat also thought that he could pull the boat with his Honda Ridgeline.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, he almost fell out of his chair laughing.
Yeah.
I am not
Very
kidding.
funny.
He's just looking at me. He's like, the same guy who picked this boat to win thought he could pull it with a Honda Ridgeline. And I'm like, yeah, he's just like, you moron. So
what does it weigh? What does that boat weigh?
I'd have to get into the specs, but we talked about it, when we all made our picks, and Greg at that time was like, "Oh, I can pull this with both." Like, no, you ain't pulling that.
Well, it
boat.
does have a triple axle trailer, so it's got to be, 7,000 or 8,000 pounds probably.
Well, there were different models, and I was saying the smaller one might be towable.
And you picked it only for the name.
Yeah, well, I thought it looked cool, and I thought the name was the best out of all of them.
I think we have to have a recount.
Well,
this isn't fair.
It sounds like somebody is,
it's not fair. It needs to be recounted.
Sore losers
somewhere. No,
sore losers. Just
well, I think at this point we have all gone. We've all managed to pick a Boat of the Year winner at this point.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Well, let that be a lesson to all the boat manufacturers when you keep coming out with these new vessels, new models, and enter the contest of these innovations and things like that each year. Come out with a better name than the 25.XZ, Surf Boss. Come out and say, make it cool again. Make boating cool again. That's my slogan. And sure enough, it worked for those guys. So you're welcome, Shaggy.
Yeah. See, I made the prediction that Greg would take all the credit for this boat winning, and I was not wrong.
Patrick, don't worry. He'll forget by next week.
Yeah.
No.
He is.
I mean, when I mentioned it, it was like, yeah. It's like, Greg, that's the boat you picked.
Okay, great.
It was.
All right. Well, then,
he also
once
looked
again,
like he
I had
just
my
stepped out of
reasoning.
the Mystery Machine.
I thought it looked cool, it looked practical, and it had a great name. It was a trifecta.
Okay.
That's what they got to start thinking about more on these. From
move
a
on,
marketing perspective.
Yeah.
All right. What else did you see at the Miami International Boat Show, Patrick? Let's go.
Okay. So out of the Regal Marine Industries booth, they unveiled their new 50 center helm. And my understanding from the time that boat show started to where I was there on Friday morning, they had already taken, I believe, 5 orders at that point for a boat that's going to retail just north of $2 million.
Wow. That's a good sign.
And it is a great, right out of the gate, this is their prototype that they had on display. this, for our longtime listeners, you know that this is a company that I work for, that I've been working for since I was 18. This model is also one that is going to be in my portfolio. So I've been following this boat up through the prototype, from the design stage, the build
What's
stage.
the name of it again? Which
It is the 50 SAV, or sports activity vessel.
Work on the name, but it's it's fine.
Stop it. We've got some. They've got some patent pending stuff, and if you go to worldofboating.com or the World of Boating Facebook page, you'll see where at the captain's chairs, they've incorporated 2 small Garmin units, one on the port side, one on the starboard side, into the armrests, so that you can control. It's all digital switching, so that from just kicking back in the seat, you can control everything right from there and don't have to go forward up to the main screens at the helm.
It's like Captain Kirk and the Enterprise type of setup. I like it. Sounds great. Good stuff. More coming up on the World of Boating.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network.
Traffic sucks, unless you're scuba diving with Mike Scott.
Mike glanced down at his dive computer. It showed less than 50 PSI left in his tank. Probably just a few more breaths.
Or riding shotgun in a thrilling car chase.
One bullet hit the Jeep's windshield, spiderwebbing the passenger side. Mike shifted into second gear and felt the Jeep leap forward. This just got serious.
Escape your commute with audiobooks from author Eric Douglas. Download to your phone. Go to booksbyeric.com or audible.com.
Do you have a message or product you need to share with the boating world? Well, look no further than the World of Boating radio show. Just like you, thousands of boating enthusiasts are hearing this message, and we could be talking about you and your product or service as early as next Saturday. Remember, a terrible thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Go to worldofboating.com, send us an email, and let's get to work to make your marketing message matter.
Successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the World of Boating.
I do like the water.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate, Captain Patrick Barry, the boater, Mike the Mariner, rounding out the crew as we navigate the latest boating news and information. And talk about the Miami International Boat Show, which is still going on through tomorrow, Sunday. Patrick was down there seeing what he could see and, shaking babies, kissing hands, what you do sometimes when you're out in the public, and didn't get arrested. So he's back to report live on the World of Boating today. I've talked about what he saw. And one of them, I don't know. Where are we at next here, Patrick? I'll just let you take it.
Well, we'll move on from, Regal unveiling their 50 SAV. I spent some time over in the Axopar booth. They had a really neat prototype that they unveiled. As I was talking about, really some innovative stuff, access to sleeping areas, multiple points of entry in something that is, Barry said it was a little too, what'd you say, sleek, maybe?
Sleek, futuristic for me.
But I'll tell you one thing that I really liked about that Axopar was the helm station. And the reason why I like the helm station is where we're in an era where everybody wants that automotive look and, the vinyl wrapped or the leather wrapped helms and things like that. I've said on air often enough, I'm more simplistic when it comes to boating. And Axopar, they've got this helm that it has a feel of almost carbon fiber, but it's almost got this matte black look to it. Really simple, but yet looks really expensive. They did a really, really great job with that helm station.
Okay.
Well, clean can look expensive. It doesn't have to be cluttered. Cluttered doesn't necessarily look expensive.
It's not so much cluttered as where that automotive look with the vinyl wraps or the leather wraps, and got to mimic this because people want it to look like the inside of their Mercedes or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of went the opposite direction. And for a boat that is really really designed to get a lot of exploring use. I mean, this would be the boat that I would have for that, especially backwater areas, bays, things like that. It's a helm station. One, it's completely undercover inside, but two, is really designed. It looks, again, rich. It looks expensive, but yet is very simple in the way that it was done. And I really, really, I appreciate that.
And I like their brand of boat because, again, they enclose the helm station. So when you hit bad weather, you're not getting soaked, but you still have a good vision, a good view everywhere around.
Yeah, and they're built. I believe these boats are built in Finland. So fair weather boat, cold weather boat. It's really built for a wide variety of sea conditions.
Well, there you go. Well, that sounds good. You can boat good and look good.
Yep. Want to move to a couple of the Four Winds offerings. Jeer and a Cheer. So the Jeer is for their large cruiser that was on display, and here's why. The surface profile of this boat was so bad, and I'm not saying anything that wasn't heard en masse by people that saw this boat, because it was right out on the aisle, blue hull side. That's a wrap that they put on this thing because it was horrible, and the wrap did not help. It only highlighted more the multiple imperfections, and I'm talking not little pinholes and stuff. They have a huge why they would have, and this was one of the TH. It's one of their large cruisers, almost like a cat. You want to have it at the show, man? Skirt that thing up to the rub rail.
Okay, so you're saying that the quality control didn't look good on the outside of the hull?
Well, yeah, my understanding is this boat may have spent a year, 2 years over in Europe before it made its way over here. So I'm not sure what happened, but I heard more comments about the way the boat looked than people enjoying all the pluses that the boat may have had. And that's a problem.
Well, so do you mean like it was dirty and had crap on it or something, or what exactly?
No.
Explain.
So the surface profile, they had you could see big areas like rectangle air patches and things like that, cracks, all kinds of stuff. And what they did is, instead of fix it, they just did a vinyl wrap on the hull in blue to cover it, which only highlighted all of those things.
Made it stand out better. Yeah.
It was not a good look for them. I actually felt somewhat really, really sorry for them that, at a premier boat show that they did that. And on the other hand, they had their outboard powered runabout, which was really neat. Spoke a little bit with the guy who actually was headed up the design and engineering of that. He was actually the one that put together the boat that set the electric outboard speed record this past year out at Lake of the Ozarks. Had an interesting talk with him. So I shot some video and some still pictures of access for all the components in that boat, including the battery, which is fairly large. There were things that I was asking about as far as, center of gravity, and all he could talk about is how great the center of gravity was. I said, well, what is the LCG of the boat? And he wouldn't tell me. So it was a little disappointing there. One thing that they have to work on with this boat, especially being electric powered, because you're going to have an under a 2-hour runtime, fully charged at probably about 30 miles per hour. So you've got some work to do there. It does have a limp or a save mode that'll get you back. So it'll automatically reduce power as you start to get down your battery range. But the engine hatch, where the engine typically would be, this thing was so heavy. Okay. I had to lift this with 2 hands. They have these huge gas rams to assist the lift, but it's not until you probably get about 3/4 of the way up. And the reason why it's so heavy is it's a 2-part construction because they wanted that finished underside. But there's ways to do that, like with infusion technology, which will get you a lighter, but yet a stronger part. And you're going to have to join the 2 parts together like they did here. This thing, when I was bringing it down, once you get past that quarter coming down, the weight's taken over. And there's not going to be somebody of a certain age that's going to be able to lift this
Barry.
without hurt or bring it
Greggy.
down without hurting themselves. They've got some work to do on that, especially weight saving. You got to factor that in, especially when you're going electric. You got to factor that in to where what can we do to reduce weight on this? That is what that thing was massive. I mean,
Mike the Mariner, what do you say?
Yeah, well, I mean, so you brought up something a little bit earlier that kind of speaks to the limitations of electric in terms of where it is now. A 2-hour runtime is nothing. I mean, that doesn't even get you a morning's use. And then what's the time to recharge the batteries
good
on this boat?
Question.
How long does it
They're
take?
usually about, I think they've got the charge times down to about 45 minutes to get them back charged. The thing with this type of boat, again, you've got certainly over in Europe and stuff, you've got some lakes that don't allow petrol burning. You know, it's going to be electric only. And as the technology advances, as those run times increase, you know, this was their first effort with a true electric outboard into that market. So as we know, a lot of people, when they do go out boating, we would hope that they would boat like Mike does or like Barry does. But sometimes as people, they just want to go out, they want to pull a tube for a little bit, then they just want to go hang out on the lake and then head back to the dock. We found the same thing with Nautiques, with their Ingenuity models, where, they're going to go out, they're going to do a surf session, they're going to come back, recharge, and then maybe go back out in the afternoon.
All right, more with Captain Patrick on the Miami International Boat Show next. Stay close.
You're listening to the World of Boating Radio Network. You have successfully navigated the Sea of Commerce and now are clear to cruise with the World of Boating.
I do like the water.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
The sun, the sea air, good friends.
Brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
Look! Here comes a boat! Really? Oh, it's about time!
On this boat, we'll sail away tonight. And on this boat, confess that you were right.
This is the World of Boating. Greg, your first mate, Captain Patrick, Barry the boater, Mike the Mariner, rounding out the crew. All right, Captain Patrick was at the Miami International Boat Show. He's giving us a little preview of the stuff that he saw, and they caught his eye. There was quite a bit, and I don't know, where are we at now, Patrick?
I wanted to go over to the Bayliner offerings. So the Trophy Series is back. And the Trophy Series that they unveiled is got that Pilot House Axopar look to it. Say what you will about the Bayliner brand. Say what you will about the Trophy Series. Not impressed, man. This, it just didn't work for me. When you look at the video, I think I just shot video on this one. The helm station, unlike the Axopar, which was very clean, very neat, very functional, this one is very cluttered, very narrow. It's a very narrow helm seat. When you go down into the cabin, now it does have a step-down cabin, but in order to get into the head, before you step down in the cabin, you have to reach down and open up the door for the head. You can't open that door once you're down in the cabin.
Oh, because one door blocks the other?
Correct.
That's just an accident waiting to happen.
Well,
So-
no, it's they had the design around a small area, so
There
What
are
was the
other
overall size
ways.
of that boat?
I'd have to go back and look at my notes.
okay.
About 25 or so,
Yeah.
roughly.
But you see, enclosed helm stations, because the weather can really knock you out.
All right.
Yeah, but if you're going, I mean, one, it didn't have that kind of where Axopar's got that forward leaning windshield.
Yeah, Coast Guard style, I call
that
it.
we all like. This one was more of a traditional. Does have the entry door on the starboard side, a sliding window on the port side, so you only have one exit point, on that starboard side, other than coming back out the back of it. It's got almost that tri-hull look, although it is a V. One of the things with the Axopar and with this, of course, some concerns, maneuvering at slow speed. So, you got a bit of freeboard there to deal with. This one just did not. Mike, don't encourage him.
What?
Okay. What?
This one, and again, it's everybody has their own perspective. What you truly, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I look at the aesthetic, the way the boat looks initially, which I think we all look at. Is that a good looking? Is that a boat that I would like to be seen in or would like to have? And then you look at the functionality of how everything is laid out. And this particular boat just didn't do it for me, either aesthetically or the way that things were laid out at the helm, the way things were set up down in the cabin. I'm sure they're going to sell a lot of them. This model just didn't work for me.
I'm going to put Captain Patrick down as not a fan.
Yeah.
Well, do you think these boats would be more suited to northern climates? I mean, when you look at the greenhouse, for instance, there's a lot of glass area there, and in Florida, I mean, you're basically in a roaster.
No, because our models that we have all the way from the 42 down to the 36 Grand Coupe with the enclosed cockpits. Now we have dedicated air conditioning units. In some cases, it's one. On the larger yachts, it's two for the cockpits alone. We have blackout curtains to help. We have blinds, and that glass is tinted. And we have an optional tint to get it even darker if you want, based on the climate range that your area that you're in. So, those boats, I'll say that, are insanely popular here in Florida, in the Southeast, in the upper Northeast, for a variety of reasons, more so because you've got that enclosed cockpit. You have the safety, if you will, but you have a 360-degree view around, and it enables you to have a helm up design or a galley up design where, again, the cabin is more functional for sleeping and using the facilities. So,
So you're thinking that, like, if this boat was used in Florida, for instance, that the owner is going to order, it's only a 25-footer or so, so they're going to order it with air conditioning and a generator so they can run it.
You would, if this was me and I was down in Florida, you need to have a generator and an air conditioner on board for your pretty much for your year-round use. But again, there are too many things there, and you've got a limited amount of space, and how do we maximize? But there are too many things that I saw that I just didn't work. Just doesn't work for me.
Barry, you like it just because it has that whole little room for you, or what?
No. I was just thinking about. He was talking about the helm and all that stuff. Did it just have more single-use gauges, or does it use the the new flat panel, everything's in one unit like the Axopar?
Okay, so it's got everything, Barry.
Oh,
it's got an in-dash display. It's got gauges. It's got actual switches. It's got a dual binnacle control on a raise to the right side, and then you've got your fancy little stainless wheel. And it's just too cluttered.
It's it looks more like a 747 than a
And then you've got your controls for your bow thruster and and it's a confined space. It's very narrow.
It's too tight.
And things are just stacked.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is a very narrow home station for sure.
Yeah,
was it about an 8-inch Simrad display? Looks like.
Yeah. And then, fortunately, they put the VHF up above because they ran out of space.
They ran out of room, right?
But
you lost me at the beginning when you said the head. You have to open it on your way down. Otherwise, when you have your own personal bow thruster issue, you could have a problem.
No. What he said is that if you go, on some of these, the head's right off to one side or the other,
right?
And you can't open one door if you have the other door in the way.
Right.
So how would you have fixed that, Patrick?
Well, here's the thing. The door for the aft cabin opens inward. The door for the head opens outward. That's why you can't do it when you're down there. And you can't make the head door. What I would have done there is a bifold door.
Oh, okay. A little. Okay, so it would bifold because if you can't go inwards because then you can't.
Well, you can't. You can if you do a bifold door.
But a bifold, do you think it would last on a boat that's rock and rolling, hitting waves?
Sure, we do bifold doors,
and they don't break.
No, if you do them right, and you have the right hardware,
you use them.
So full length piano hinges and stuff like that. Okay.
I do a bifold, and for that instead of that full size, single hinge, hinge door like that, because that is something that's a workaround to make that truly functional and get past the fact that the door has to open outward.
Right.
So it's little things like that. It's maybe a little more complex of a build.
May not seal as much. Seal is good. You might need some extra poopery.
It will seal fine.
Hey, Patrick seems to have done the research on this, so
that's where you get the methane for the methane-powered boats.
Okay. Well,
so question for you guys as we come up towards the end of the show, with boat shows and stuff. How important to you as an attendee at a show is the display for the show? Something to think about so we can talk about next week. How much does that impact your wanting to go into that particular booth and see their boats, how their booth is set up?
Not the display, the people, if you know what I mean. The boat fluff is like a magnet, but that's just me.
Greg
and everybody else
shallow.
listening right now. All right, and we don't have time for anyone else. We're just going to leave it at that for now. Till next time, remember, whether it's sail or motor,
life is better as a boater.
Safe boating, everyone.
Come back here, you barnacle-bitten swab.
World of Boating is brought to you by worldofboating.com, your internet portal for the boating enthusiast.
Any of this getting through to you, son?
World of Boating is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Computer standing by.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past shows worldwide over the internet at worldofboating.com.
Computers can do that?
So tell a friend and come aboard every week for the World of Boating.
This is so great. I can't wait. I'm getting goosebumps. Feel me. Feel me.
The radio show devoted exclusively to the boating lifestyle.
TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The opinions you just heard on the World of Boating are those of the hosts, callers, and guests. They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
What are you being such a weenie for?
While on the water, your safety and the safety of many others depends on you. So boat smart and operate your vessel only after receiving the proper training and instruction for your area.
There is a fine line between genius and madness.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at worldofboating.com.